Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be doing my February and March TBR, and I'll tell you why this is for 2 months a bit later on in the video. It is quite a gloomy day here yet again, so I'm sorry if this is going to be a bit of a dark video. I cannot control the weather. I thought I would add a little recap of how I did the previous month to these videos as well, just because I thought it'd be fun to see how I did. So in January I had 6 reading prompts. I read 4 of them, which were The Secret Lives of Church Ladies, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, Kitchen, and The Bird's Way. I've also just started Crying in H. Mart. I literally just read the first chapter, so that is going with me to my February TBR. And The Tie That Binds I didn't read, so that's just gonna go back on my bookshelves. Then I had 2 book buying prompts. The first one was to use the Storygraph recommendations and get a non-fiction book. In the feminist reading challenge that I'm doing this year, there is a prompt to read a graphic non-fiction, so I filtered my recommendations on graphic novels, and one of the books that came up was Genderqueer. I can't remember the author on the top of my head, but I'll put a picture in the screen because that book is still on its way to me. And then the next buying prompt was a book by an author you've loved before, and I got Middlemarch by George Elliot. I've read The Mill of the Floss, I think it was about 1.5 years ago, and I really enjoyed that. And Middlemarch is one of those books that I think I will really enjoy, but I am a little bit intimidated by it because it is well, at least this copy is like over 900 pages, but I thought it was finally time to get myself a copy, and you know, 2023 will be the year where I read Middlemarch. And then I had 2 extra prompts. One was to unhaul a number of books, and I had a little flash book sale on Instagram, and I sent about 15 books to other people. And then last was to send a postcard to someone who commented on the video, because that's the way I celebrate reaching the end of the game, which I haven't done yet, but it will be on the post soon. So that was January. So let's move on to February and March. So I've decided to do this for 2 months because I will be joining in with the BookTube prize, and for that I will be reading 6 books in February and March. When I'm filming this, I don't know yet which 6 books that will be, so I don't know how much time I have to spend on my own books in that time. And also I won't be buying any new books, at least in February, because I don't know how many of these books are available at my local library, of those 6 books that I will be reading for the BookTube prize. Oh, now one more thing I wanted to mention is that I will also be joining in with the TBR Spin each month, which is a new sort of year-long TBR game created by the Book Bully and Freshly Read Books, where you make a stack of 12 books at the beginning of the year, and each month they will provide a prompt to pick a book to read that month. So by the end of the year you should have read those 12 books, and mine are either books from the 12 book recommendations by 12 friends list that I got at the beginning of the year, or from my These Books Will Self-Destruct list, which is the previous video I did, so I'll link that down below so you can check it out if you want to. The first prompt was to read a prize-winning book, and I read The Road Home by Rose Tremaine, which won the Orange Broadband Prize for Fiction in 2008, which is now also known as the Women's Prize for Fiction. Again, as I'm filming this, I don't know what the prompt will be for next month, but I'll let you know in the next TBR video. Okay, so that was all the preamble out of the way. Now let's just get into the roles for February and March. Okay, we will be starting right at the beginning again, since we finished the game last time round. So here we go. Roll number 1 is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is one of the special tiles. The bridge, where instead of buying new books I would use the prompts to get books from the library instead. I'm not getting new books this month anyway, so we're just gonna skip that one. Roll number 2 is 3. 1, 2, 3, which is a swan, which would be a book buying prompt, and again I'm not buying any new books this month, so skipping this one as well. Roll number 3 is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which will be my first reading prompt, and that is a library book. So the first 2 rolls were both to do with book buying, which I won't do in February, so I skipped those. The first reading prompt was a library book, and I actually have a few options out from the library right now. The first is this one, Sneeuw Hond Voet. The English translation of this is Snow Dog Foot by Claudio Morandini. So I heard Karen of A Roving Reader talk about this. She read this right at the end of 2022 and said that she would have put it in her favorites if she didn't put her favorite books of the year before the end of the year. And I saw my library had a copy, so I picked it up. It also fits one of the prompts of the Montana Book Club Company Reading Challenge, which is a book written from an animal perspective. This book isn't written entirely from an animal perspective, but it does have a talking dog in it, so it's at least partly from an animal's perspective, so I'm gonna count it. I can't quite remember what this book was about, but if Karen enjoyed it, I am trusting her opinion, and I'm definitely interested in giving this a go. And then I also have a couple of books that fit another reading challenge. I'll put my goals video down below because I've already mentioned some of the reading challenges I'm doing, and I will likely mention them again, so you can check out that as well if you're interested. Anyway, in the feminist reading challenge I'm doing, there is a prompt that is to read a historical fiction by a Southeast Asian author. So I had a look in the library to see what they had, and I found 3 books, and all these books are from new to me countries as well, which is another reading goal I'm doing this year. I know very little of these books, so I'm just going to show you them. If you have read any of these, then please let me know if they are worth my time. So the first is In the Shadow of the Banyan by Vaddey Ratner, which is from Cambodia. I have The Garden of Evening Mist by Twan, which is from Malaysia. And then I have Amba of the Kleur van Rood. I think the English translation is The Question of Red, by Laksmi, Pamuntjak, and this is from Indonesia. So those are my options for a library book. Rule number 4 is 2. 1, 2. A book written pre-1900. The next reading prompt is a book from before 1900, and I only have one book written before 1900 on my TBR, and that is Middlemarch. I did say I want to read this, so I'm going to do it. It is massive, and what I think I will do is just to read this book along with the audiobook and read 1 or 2 chapters a day. So that means it will take me a couple of months, but I do think it's a good book to take your time with. Rule number 5. 1, 2, 3. A book from Oceania. The next reading prompt was a book from Oceania, and for that I will be reading Small Bodies of Water by Mingya Powles, which is an essay collection. I think this has a strong focus on nature writing and also on the immigrant experience and growing up in 2 different cultures, which are all things I really enjoy reading about. And the author is from New Zealand. Rule number 6. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is food. The next role was a book on food, and I am going to count Crying in H-Mart for that, because it is a memoir where food and cooking plays a big role. Rule number 7. 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A book by an indigenous author. Then we had a book by an indigenous author, and I will be reading Too Much Lip by Melissa Lucashenko, who is an indigenous Australian author. This book was also on my These Books Will Self-Destruct list, so I am very happy to be finally reading this book. Rule number 8. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The shortest book. Then the next role was the shortest book on my TBR, and that is Fair Play by Tove Janson, which is exactly 100 pages. This is about 2 women who live across the hall from each other in their apartment complex, and about their relationship. What I gathered from this is that it is very much a slice of life, which is something I really enjoy. I have read the summer book by Tove Janson before, and I really like that as well. So I am looking forward to reading another of her novels. Rule number 9. 4 again. A book with a person on the cover. The next prompt was a book with a person on the cover, and I have picked Sanda by Pieter Huybrechts, which was also on my These Books Will Self-Destruct list. And I wanted to get some more non-fiction in this TBR as well. This is a true crime book about a student who died during a hazing ritual for a fraternity that he wanted to join. And there's a picture of him on the cover of the book. And the final role is 2. The book with the longest title. And then the last prompt was to read the book with the longest title, and that is Hitting a Straight Lick with a Crooked Stick by Zora Neale Hurston. This is a collection of short stories, and I believe these were all sort of rediscovered, collected stories. I have read The Eyes Were Watching God, which I really loved, so I am very excited to read some more of her work. Am I gonna hold up all the books? You know what, I am going to. Let me gather them. I might regret this. Jesus. There we have it. These are the options. I'm gonna put them back down again now. There is definitely some books in here I am very excited about. All of these books will fit one of my reading goals in one way or another, so I'm very pleased with that. And I'm also very excited to see which books I will be reading for the BookTube prize. As always, if you enjoyed any of these books, please let me know. If you haven't enjoyed them, maybe wait until after I've read them. And I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.